Hello, everybody. Good evening. This is Dr. Rao. I found some time late afternoon this Sunday. Um, I thought I will chat with you a little bit. Today, I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine, on how is that we are joyful by really not doing anything, you know, just be that ebbing of peace, quietude, and just a sense of happiness, and that serenity doesn't go away that easily because external things are different, right? So I have talked about this in the past with some of my friends who had questions on this, um, and they're profound questions, and so we had to talk to them like that too. But generally, we always think that happiness is in things that we could get, or in fulfilling our desires, or just being clear about something, you know. So that movement could become like you are opting for something for so long, and you gained it, and you think really fulfilling my desires is joy and happiness. But suppose you don't have many desires and you don't have compelling desires. Still, you could be really stay in that. The yogis showed me this. They don't have any property. They don't own any uh, particular status in the sense of having a job, having a position, and having some remuneration, having some physical things, and none of that, right? But they are staying there in their blissful joy hours and hours and hours. And then when they want to do something, they come with that kind of love that you could feel, that they are really want to help us, or do things for people, because they themselves consider that it is just by serving they have joy. Not that they have to do to be the joy, they are always joyous, but then they do everything in joyous, peaceful serenity. Okay, how is that possible? What were the taught? What were they taught? And how did they happen? That's what I want to focus a little bit from my little understanding of what it is. Of late, I kind of stay there mostly, right? Um, doesn't have to have any achievement, doesn't have to have some recognition or admiration, none of it, right? So even somebody does that, it looks like it didn't seem to have an impact. It stays. So I don't want to go into the entire thing about me, but about generally, people are very joyous, spontaneously joyous when they are kids. What happens? Why are they not now? They're driven by things that they want to have. They call it passionate, really getting things done and all that. But at the end of it, they don't seem to have this inner tranquility, inner peace, and inner serenity and solitude of mind. They want to validate. They want to be uh, taken by somebody and really tell them they are so great, you're doing this, you have this, and all that. Lots of times those people are doing just because they want something for us, right? So, what was the yogic way of living? That I'm going to be brief on this, because you couldn't go pretty deep. And you are welcome to come and share with your experience of your own joy if you want to. See, they said you could do three things to touch this inner joy, you know, or inner bliss, or inner Ananda, they called it, right? Um, First of all, you got to have a mind that is purified. How, what does that purification mean? Mind with its own incessant, non-stop desires keeps itself rolling from one to another, never getting satisfied, never staying a minute and say, "Let me enjoy this." No, so it's like you want to go to school, you want to go to college, you want to take a degree, you want to have a family, you have to have so much on the impact on the society, so many multitude of desires, right? So that's one thing that they did. They want to be in the life, they want to help other people, but whatever they do, that's only for the sake of other people's welfare, never for their own fulfillment. So they are already fulfilled, right? They are fulfilled because of the something important that they discovered within themselves. They call that in Sanskrit Purnam. That is the whole thing from which you came. You have that too. You just how do you really get in touch with that wholeness? Is first one is desirelessness. That means unselfish activity of any job you do. Okay, I'm a physician. If I go and help my patients, I should be doing with an unselfish attitude, not uh, uh, uninterested. I got to be interested. I got to be really deep into that, but disinterested about my own selfish needs. That's the servant leadership and all that we talk about. So that's number one, unselfish activity. Second one is you seem to have the mind going all over. So get that mind focused to what is important in life, what is that you would like to do in this moment and down the line. So that is kind of second one. Okay, purified mind, then focused mind. With these two, then you do what's called self-inquiry. Who am I? What am I? Where did I come from? Where I'm going? What is that? Is that's all. That is the inquiry you take after you kind of got your mind really selfless or pure, and you have the focused mind on that. So then you will see that you have a wheel for your real joyful self. And by inquiry into what it is and going into it by yourself, not according to any formula, you have the potential to discover that joyous being that's always there, right? So it's a wonderful thing to be a human being and to be able to do that. But if you are in the mind, in your emotions, in your reactions, you will always be going after things desirous, and you'll always be thinking that something outside is going to fulfill me. And that kind of desirous activity gives you the unfocused mind. You have to do this, you have to please this, you have to understand these people, you have to tell them, all those things will come, right? So scattered mind will happen. So understanding this goes a long way. Why yogis were joyous? They didn't want anything except for the hunger, little food, and for them to stay a tree, and then for them to sleep, any rock will be fine. Okay, and they were dealing with the Mother Earth, their natural elements, and then they developed resilience to not only survive but to sustain and get developed. So in Sanskrit, these are called Mala Vikshepana Avarana. Mala means dirt. Clean up the dirt with unselfish activity. And Vikshepana is scattered mind. Practice being focused and knowing what is important, only do those. Okay, that is Vikshepana. by meditation, focus, and all. So, with a purified mind and focused mind, you engage in the activity of finding out who you are by self inquiry, Atma Vichara. So, these three things, if you do that, then you have the chance of making the mind quiet, making mind focused, and making mind realize what is real being and how everything else is just the mind and thoughts and emotions and all that. So this is, I mean, very deep top subject, and then even the end result is also pretty deep. Something you can experience by yourself. So I just want to mention that I don't want to prolong this with too much of technicalities and discussions and all that. Just be aware. Joy is a natural state that it is there, and we are not able to realize it because we are engaged in this desirous activities and unfocused mind, and that's why you are not able to stay with the inquiry and then realize who you are. Okay, so that's what I have to say on this one. I have a lot more to say, but I don't want to really prolong this for a deeper discussion unless people have some questions or some of their own experiences to share their own way of looking at this on their own. Okay. Hi, Terry.
Hello, Dr. Rao. How are you on this Sunday?
I am very relaxed and happy to be here with you.
And that is as it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, joy. Now, the opposite of joy is what? Depression, um, despair, unhappiness.
Yeah.
And sometimes the reason people feel those emotions is because they're not given freedom to be themselves.
Hmm.
Or, to put it another way, they have no outlet for creative expression
Exactly.
and following their passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can get stuck in a rut. And there lies, mental illness and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it going around, Terry. But then, if you look at the other generations, other cultures, this pervasive, uh, passionate pursuing things is not there. The rat race, you know. So they kind of go inward rather than outward in the rat race. You know.
Yeah.
Ordinary things like a food, shelter, and clothing people need, but
Yes.
we rake up this extra desire, thinking that there's so much more out there, and
Yeah.
that's the illusion. People realize later on, but that's the world made up of a lot of different people. But I'm talking
Yeah.
about something that is available within us without any particular belief or emotion or taking a drug or anything, nothing like that. That's so fascinating to me.
Yeah. I think it's one way people get joy, even in like circumstances in some parts of the world, is
Yeah,
they have a connection with others. A connection, and
sure.
um, during the Second World War in the UK, there was a thing called the wartime spirit, where people pulled together
Mm,
and they supported one another, and they had this attitude: we're going to get through this.
mm,
And so there was still joy
yeah,
amongst the turmoil.
yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you,
Some,
Doctor Rao.
something bigger than themselves. That's absolutely right, Terry was saying. If you identify what times maybe acute, people will be motivated But even ordinary times, suppose you do something bigger than yourself, to your kids, to your family, to your extended family, that too is a long way. That's basically unselfishness expressed in a way, right? So thinking of something bigger than yourself is promoting unselfishness, maybe in the selfish for a bigger cause, but still way out of yourself. Instead of you protecting, you separating from other people, you are working for the other people by the whole. So that itself is unselfish activity. Definitely, that's a way to discover meaning, purpose for that time of the year, and then really engaging in what you think is right for the society, and then you're unjustly invaded or really unjustly occupied, then you lose the freedom that will bring it out too. Yeah, I'm already taken for granted. People are free and people are really not having this mental illness. But some of the mental illness also is really cured by understanding human beings and making them tick with what really ticks them, and then really give them the purpose or meaningful in life. They will be out of depressions, anxieties, and all. It may be difficult to get to that. Okay, but I assume people are normal, not having any major mental illness, not having any organic illness, and they are able to really engage in this self inquiry. For that, to get the joy, you want to know who you are. To know who you are, you have to have self inquiry. To have self inquiry, you have to have focused mind and clean mind. That's what I'm talking about. So thanks, Terry, for bringing up that. And um, yeah, people have different way of experiences in their own life. So I would love to listen to their experiences, their understanding of joy. What I am talking about is somebody like a person of yoga, not just these teachers that teach you how to keep your body well. No, they were talking about yoga is where they are already united with the universal consciousness, and then that's why they don't have any particular selfish self, but more like a uh, liberated from the small minded self. Those kind of people, they experience this joy. I'm not saying everybody will do it right away. They have to go through deconditioning of themselves. They have to have the practice of getting to a focused mind for prolonged period, and also reflecting on the life in terms of the self inquiry. If a thought comes, you ask, where did this thought come? How did it arise? What were the conditioning factors? All those things you have to do. So you have to have enormous focus, enormous time, enormous uh, thinking in the sense of self inquiry. Looking at your inner self is not thinking really, it's an intuitive awareness. The more you are aware of what's going on within you without judging or without jumping reactions or anything, you can really understand yourself much, much better if you are engaged in that. But many people are engaged in making a living or enjoying the benefits of the living livelihood, and then at the end of it, really uh, not being clear, not knowing what is what, and then they die off, and then that's it. But I'm talking about this human potential that we all have to discover this joyful being. Okay, we all have this hidden diamond like, but it is hidden. You got to find out by yourself. Okay, uh, but joy, simple joys of kids are just to go and out and play, be healthy, and doesn't even know about it, but you are healthy, you are joyful, right? So small things make them very joyful too. The thinking happens and then they are lost from the joy. Now the thinking is taking over us, and that's why we don't really enjoy the joy in small things. You can just take walk and enjoy the wind on your face. You cannot really go there and look at the beauty of the various flowers the garden has, various leaves the garden has. See, that's what I'm talking about. Being joyful like a kid is possible when you understand your mind and say, "This is mind is a tool. Let me be not be influenced by the mind continuously, but rather have my mind under my control." Okay. So all this boils down to understanding what is mind and going beyond mind. Okay, big topic, but then be joyful, uh, be giving joy to others, and fulfill your life that way. Anybody else, or I'm going to close the room? And this is like a brief thing I wanted to do today. And, all right, I will be seeing you again as the time permits. Thank you.